Indonesia, the country with the largest population and largest car ownership in Southeast Asia, is transitioning towards electrification. Currently, there are more than 15 million cars and 112 million motorcycles on the country's roads. Among them, there are only 12,464 electric motorcycles and 1,656 electric passenger cars. Air pollution and traffic congestion have long plagued the country, with the capital Jakarta being one of the worst. Both in terms of global industry trends and its own improvement, Indonesia has ushered in an opportunity for transformation. According to plans released by Indonesia government, all motorcycles sold in Indonesia from 2040 will be electric, while all new cars sold from 2050 will be electric vehicles. In the short to medium term, it plans to achieve 20% of locally produced vehicles as electric vehicles by 2025. Compared with Europe, China, and other places, this plan does not seem to be radical, but considering the extremely low number of electric vehicles in Indonesia, the reform of the plan is very sweeping. With the release of the new policy, automakers from various countries have begun to enter this huge potential market. At present, Japanese cars and Chinese cars are fighting fiercely on this land. At the same time, Europe, the United States, and South Korea are also eager to have a try. Who will stand out in this fierce competition? Why did so many world-renowned car companies choose Indonesia? Are there really no obstacles to developing the electric vehicle industry in Indonesia? Hi, welcome to Auto Age. Before we started today's video, please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Okay, let's get started. An important reason why Japanese automakers are so eager to invest in Indonesia is to maintain their current absolute leadership in the market. The latest example is Toyota. Japanese automaker Toyota Motor Corp plans to invest 27.1 trillion rupiah, $1.80 billion, in Indonesia over the next 5 years to produce electrified vehicles. Toyota has invested 14 trillion rupiah in the country since 2019. According to the plan, Toyota will produce vehicles in Indonesia including HEV, PHEV and EV models. Almost at the same time, Mitsubishi Motors announced additional investment in Indonesia and promised to invest an additional $666 million in the next 3 years to expand production and accelerate the development of hybrid and electric vehicles. By the end of 2021, Mitsubishi Motors has invested a total of $750 million in the Indonesian plant. According to public data, among the top 10 car companies in Indonesia for new car wholesale sales in May 2022, Japanese companies accounted for 7 seats, of which the top 5 were all Japanese companies. Among the top 20 new models in wholesale sales in May, only one Hyundai Creta was not a Japanese car. Since Indonesia began to implement an open economic policy in the 1960s, Japanese car companies have gradually taken root in Indonesia and achieved great success. Data show that in the past 20 years, Japanese brand car assembly plants have accounted for more than 90% of the total in Indonesia, of which Toyota alone has accounted for more than 30%. Indonesia is like a second motherland for Japanese brands. However, the local status of Japanese brands is being sniped by Chinese forces. In the Indonesian new car sales table in May, an inconspicuous name hidden among a lot of Japanese brands made the Japanese very uncomfortable, Wuling, which ranked 10th. In fact, by the end of last year, Wuling had become the best-selling Chinese brand in Indonesia, with cumulative sales exceeding 73,000. Wuling's popularity in Indonesia stems from its understanding of local consumer demand. Although it is a latecomer in the Indonesian auto market, Wuling Indonesia leads the competition in terms of technological innovation and application. For example, Wuling is the first brand to be equipped with the Indonesian language voice control function, the first to carry IOV and ADAS functions, and the first to develop small electric vehicles. The 2021 Almaz RS was named Car of the Year within a month of its launch. If there is a Chinese brand that can compete with Japanese brands in Indonesia, it must be Wuling. On July 13 this year, Wuling released a heavyweight product in Indonesia, Wuling Air EV. This electric car positioned close to Mini EV is undoubtedly a perfect match for this market in the early stage of electrification transformation. In fact, in addition to China and Japan, South Korean and North American automakers are also preparing to take advantage of the world's third-largest automotive emerging market. Recently, South Korea's Hyundai Motor announced that it will invest another 1.92 trillion won in Indonesia. The move is an additional investment on top of its first factory opened in Indonesia on March 16 this year. Thereafter, the plant's annual production capacity will be increased from 150,000 to 250,000. Tesla plans to build an electric car and battery factory in Indonesia. The plant is proposed to be built in an industrial park in central Java and is scheduled to start construction by the end of 2022. Ford entered the Indonesian battlefield in another way. On July 21, Huayu Cobalt disclosed the latest cooperation project with Ford Motor, showing that the parties plan to use the existing subsidiary of Vale Indonesia as the project company. After the project is completed, Huayu Cobalt will supply about 84,000 tons of nickel-equivalent material products to Ford Motor each year. On July 18, Volkswagen also said it plans to build a nickel processing plant in Indonesia. Then, why do so many car companies choose Indonesia? Behind the flocking of car companies, in addition to Indonesia's determination and potential in the field of electrification, there is another important factor. Indonesia is rich in mineral resources, especially nickel, which is one of the most critical components in power batteries. In addition, the country has bauxite, which is used in aluminum frames for electric vehicles, copper, which is used in electric vehicle cables and batteries, cobalt and so on. Data shows that Indonesia's nickel reserves are about 21 million tons, ranking first in the world, accounting for 24% of the world's reserves. Institutional research reports show that only about 5% of the world's nickel is currently used in power batteries for electric vehicles. It is expected that by 2030, the global demand for nickel in electric vehicles will jump from 5% to 59% of the entire nickel supply. Therefore, Indonesia will become a battleground for car companies and battery companies. However, even though it has abundant resources and is favored by major companies in the industry, the development of Indonesia's electric vehicle business still faces many obstacles. The initial investment in an electric vehicle project is not cheap. It is usually almost double the expenditure on a gasoline vehicle project. Not only that, in Indonesia, a country with a very low electric vehicle ownership rate, it takes a long time to educate the local people and change their consumption attitudes. Infrastructure is another problem. According to Indonesian government data as of September last year, the number of EV charging points in the country was 187. The country forecasts that it will have 130,000 electric cars and 400,000 electric motorcycles by 2030. At that time, there may be a large infrastructure gap. In addition to the industrial level, the country's inherent geographical conditions are also not good. Indonesia is made up of 17,506 islands, making it less accessible than landlocked countries. Building a complete and efficient automotive supply chain across the country is a challenge. Therefore, car companies that regard Indonesia as a new gold nugget will also face more uncertainties when investing in electric vehicle projects. Whether this is a good business or not remains to be seen. Okay, that's all for today. Do you want to learn about more auto stories? Please keep following our channel and like our videos. See you.